Hello, hosts and travelers. Welcome to the podcast Hosting Your Home. Each day around the world, millions of guests stay in other people's homes using the Airbnb platform. Debbie Herdert looks for stories that come from these connections to share them with you. Listen in as we hear stories that teach us the human side of hosting your home.
Welcome to another episode of Hosting Your Home. This week, Rob and I did something completely different. We are bringing you a sequel to last week's episode where we interviewed Alan and Dabney about their place called the Summit Prairie in Tiller, Oregon. We realized not too long ago some very close friends of ours have been guests there, and they have a very unique story to tell. We've known Michael since before he was born, and so this brings to us also that kind of continuity in our relationship with him and his family. But the story itself is really delightful. You'll hear Caitlin and Michael talk about their engagement, and interspersed along here comments from Alan and Dabney from our previous episode. We hope you'll enjoy it. From a guest perspective, this is just really a fun thing to hear and to experience with them. Michael Burke and Caitlin, what's your last name?
White.
Caitlin
for the moment.
White, for the moment. So first let's toast to the engagement. Yay, you guys, congratulations. So that's awesome. And we're here to talk about your experiences at Dabney and Alan's treehouse.
Summit Prairie.
Summit Prairie, okay. And in the show notes, we'll have a link to it. How did you find the Summit Prairie?
I was looking online. I was at work and I was reading some just like Yahoo News one morning, and they had this article of like top 10 of the world's best tree houses you can rent via Airbnb. And I was like, sweet, I'm bored. I'm going to look at that. And all of a sudden I come up on the image of this home 40 feet up in the air, and it says Tiller, Oregon. So I Google Tiller, Oregon, and I realize it's like 4 hours away, but totally accessible. And I click the link, and unbeknownst to me, it's $125 a night. And I tell Michael, so we're going here. I've already emailed them. This. Yeah, I was like, I've already emailed them to try to get a date. And they responded really quickly. And we, had a bunch of different dates in mind and went back and forth and finally settled on the last weekend in May. And that was, I think, in February. And I couldn't believe that they still had availability. And
this was 2 years ago?
This was not this year, but last year. 2015. Okay. So they had only rented out, I think, 1 year previously on Airbnb. So this was their second year. And we got lucky. And so grateful that I was bored at work one morning. I just looked at it. I was like, we have to stay here. Like, this is going to be our first trip together. And it's just completely disconnected from technology, and just a really great place to...
And what was it that drew you, first of all?
Just the uniqueness of it, I think. It was just so, we both love being outdoors and nature, but I'm not the biggest, roughing it girl. So this was the perfect blend of camping, kind of rustic and rural and roughing it, but having the comforts, and just so unique. And I like finding unique experiences. And this was just it just stood out and just called to me. I just have to be there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So it took you 4 hours to get there. Ish.
Yeah, we stopped in the first time we actually stopped in Roseburg, one of our favorite wineries that we're members at. Their actual winery is down in Roseburg, so we stopped there and Had lunch, and then went out, and I'd say between 3.5 and 4 hours. Nice long Forest Service road, a lot of gravel to drive up to get there.
Oh, is that right? Okay, yes. Did you have to have a special vehicle?
You don't have to. I would say a sedan wouldn't be a comfortable ride. Been in her Honda CRV. During the times they rented out, there's no adverse weather or anything like that, so you didn't really have to worry about it.
It's very seasonal rental then. Okay.
Yeah, it's May through, I think, October is the last times. But
well, the pictures are fabulous. I've gone to the website a few times and just been amazed at that gorgeous view. And the treehouse is really high. How do you remember?
It's 40 feet, but it's 65 stairs.
Okay.
Very steep stairs.
So you're taking your luggage and your food up those stairs.
Coolers, ice, food, bags. I mean, we didn't have like real luggage, but I'm sure people do show up with real luggage. It doesn't matter.
Can you do it in one trip?
No. I was a lot smarter this year. Last year, we loaded the entire cooler, food, ice, everything. And I carried the cooler up 65 stairs last year. And this year we stopped in Eugene, bought ice. I mean, everything would have been in the refrigerator the next day or two before. And, put it in there and then took it out, carried the ice up first, then the cooler. And, I think we did it in 4 or 5 trips.
Yeah.
And,
about 10 trips collectively. Uh-huh. But if we really wanted to, you could load it up. But last year, Alan was there, and he helped us bring everything upstairs.
Oh, that was sweet.
And they generally do that for first-timers. This year, they gave me a call on Saturday morning, went, you know the drill, right? We'll be down at the cabin if you want to come say hi when you get there. Like, just holler. So this year, they left us to our own devices, but we were fine. But, yeah, they give you really good instructions. They're very thorough before you leave, and they're very good communicating as much as they can without being overbearing. Yeah. But, yeah, when we got there, they were ready and waiting for us, and... yeah, it was just so special. You all went up the bed. I'm wondering about the bed. That's what because you want to be comfortable, right? You're not in your sleeping bag.
It's
a Tempur-Pedic.
It's a queen size bed. So when you see the pictures, there's the peak roof on it that has it's a 360 degrees of windows, and it's a queen size bed. So they have an actual ladder that latches up to the rafters in the house, and you unlatch the ladder and climb up when you want to go to bed.
There's a platform.
And then up on the lower level, the main level, there's actually 2. I always call them like super singles because they're like 8 feet long, but they're about the width of a twin bed. But they're long enough for a 7.5 foot person to lay on versus a twin bed. Your couch or kid's bed, and then upstairs there's this little. There's a big metal grate that goes down, so when you're sleeping, if for some reason you roll off, you won't fall down the hole. Or when you step down.
Because there's 2 little wooden platforms on either side, and then a little metal grate. But then the bed is literally all that's up there except for the platform to stand on. And it's very comfortable. And you wake up in the middle of the night, because you do, and you look around, and it's just the most amazing view. And in the morning, the fog rolling over the hills, and it's just...
Yeah. And nighttime, you can see the Milky Way. You can. I saw a few shooting stars this year. That I'd say, and I never consider it a bad thing, but sunrise every morning, it's right in your face, and you wake up, you look at it, and it's beautiful, and then you go right back to sleep. Because it's still nice and brisk. We had, I think, a 95 degree day there, 92 degree day, and still cooled down into the 60s, maybe even into the 50s at night. So we were, at the campfire that night, had our jackets on, and it was really nice because up here in Portland, I think tonight it's going to be 85. Yeah. It was really cool off for us.
Are there windows? Do you leave the windows open?
Yes, so they have, they're screenless windows, so they have collapsible screens that you can put in whatever windows you want to open. Oh. So I always had one on I always had one on each side, so we'd have a draft going through all day. And then, upstairs you can do the same thing. But it's
the whole room where your bed is windows. There's nothing solid in there, so it's just all windows. So it's really pretty special to wake up that first
very
morning.
Romantic.
It is.
Yeah. But the first thing you do when you drive through, you have to close this massive gate, and then you're driving up this little hill, and all of a sudden you look, and there's this behemoth of a tower, and it's just like someone said it was like they heard angels sing, I think was one of the comments. But it's just such an impressive structure, and it's just kind of I don't know, it's just so special to us, and we just really love being there. It's just peaceful, and you can do nothing for 5 hours and not realize that you've just done nothing for 5 hours.
So, okay, let's get into that a little bit here, because if I remember correctly, there is a kitchen.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Very good kitchen.
And there is not a bathroom.
There's not indoor plumbing. There's a
sink.
And a
shower
for the bathroom.
Oh, you have a shower upstairs?
There's a outdoor shower on the deck.
Oh, cool.
With
cold sometimes, but hot water. There's a sink. But as far as an actual toilet, you have to go into the woods about, I would say, less than a football field, half a football field away from the actual cabin, which is fine during the day, but at night or after a campfire, it's a little scary because you don't know what's lurking. I never saw anything, But I did get a little panicky some nights. But no, there's no official toilet. But they have a funnel on the deck. And then boys could just pee. And then they have the funnel for the women. And they try to kind of be delicate about the conversation because there are some people that are not quite comfortable with that. But it's pretty awesome to have that opportunity.
So, as we tell our guests when they come stay, we have 4 potty options. So, potty option number 1 is basically the pit toilet.
And it even has a chainsaw-formed bear that holds the toilet paper.
Pooh Bear, as we call him.
Oh, cute.
So when you need to go to the bathroom, you call it, I need to go visit the bear. That's what we say. Potty option number 2 is the pee funnel. And many women have found that to be very male-centric. Yeah. So we give every woman that comes there a go-girl, which is one of those. And they're all delighted. I don't think they all.
Well, some of them are embarrassed by it because, whatever. But the ones who get into it, man, they are experts by the time they leave, and they're proud to tell us.
And they built a very good structure in the woods to go to the restroom.
So you have an outhouse sort of.
Yeah,
you have an outhouse. It's completely
covered. There's a little wash station and
they have soap, water, everything. When it's not plugged,
they thought of everything.
They have a jug there, and it's not bad. But like she said, at 2 a.m, you're really thinking about, do I need to walk down 65 stairs, climb down a ladder, and walk into the woods now? Mm-hmm. Going back to the kitchen, I mean, it's a full stove, four gas burner, oven, fridge. The first year we were there, I think they were still trying to figure out the fridge. So they said, to keep things from spoiling, but not really cold. But this last year, I mean, they had ice in the ice trays up there. So we actually did make ice instead of just using the bags we bought, because, of course, that had melted by the second day. And ice for the drinks. It was really nice to have. And everything, stayed cold in the fridge.
Yeah. And you do have to bring everything. They have spices. I think they had, flour and different kind of, grains. But you have to bring everything. So you have to bring breakfast, lunch, and snacks, dinner, and you could go to town, but it's an hour.
Okay.
There's the casino too.
But it's an hour. So to really go somewhere, you really have to be ready. So, I like planning. So we brought way more than we needed last year. This year we still brought a little more, but it was the right amount. Snacks and stuff. They really did think of all the details.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, they did a great job with it, and they're very concerned with making sure you have everything you need to be comfortable. And they have chairs on the deck, and they have an umbrella to shade you, and they did really think of all the details. But it's still, we ran out of water once or twice, and it comes back in about an hour, but you run out of water mid dishes, and just hope that it's not mid shower.
And as I have to often tell guests, they probably couldn't use all the water up, but they can use all the electricity up. So they can't just let the water run for hours, because eventually they'll run the batteries down, the solar batteries that send it up there.
They have a little barbecue on the deck, and then they have the actual fire pit down below.
And you have no cell service, so you couldn't text and say, "Oh, Alan, we're out of water."
We would just go, "Hey, Alan!"
Yeah, you can billow down the hill
and
it echoes very well.
Yeah.
We yelled a few things after we got married, and they didn't hear.
Part of the reason why this place is so special is that it is quiet.
And we're very grateful that they don't have AT&T service there, because we just can't use our phone. It takes us about 45 minutes after we leave to get service. So it's
you are on vacation.
Didn't miss it once.
So Michael,
Yes.
tell us the story about how you asked Caitlin to marry you.
Well, as we said, it was our first trip we ever went together as a couple, and that was last year. And we visited her parents last Christmas down in California, and I was really, I was talking with her sister, her brother-in-law about it, and, didn't know we were going to Mexico for her 30th birthday in January, and I, thought that maybe we'll wait a little bit longer, and always had it in my mind that would be this house would be the place that I asked her, since we left last year. Everything about it was perfect, and it was our first trip together, so it was already special no matter where we ended up going. And then the fact that it's the most amazing place I think we've really ever visited, kind of sealed the deal. And of course, you're 40 feet up overlooking the Umpqua National Forest, and you can see mountain ranges as far as you can possibly see.
We counted 5 different ranges before you get to the coast.
So did you wait till you got up there?
We were up top. I was thinking about waiting until dinner or something like that. We brought an actual couple bottles of wine that were pretty special to us. One she'd had for a number of years, and then one that my cousin had given us for Christmas from one of my favorite winemakers. And I was waiting for that perfect moment and everything. And we got there, and I just could not wait anymore. So she sat out on the front deck. And she was reading, I think, People magazine, and I'm in there trying to get everything ready. I borrowed a GoPro from my dad, so I was setting that up kind of incognito so I could record it. And I had a Bluetooth speaker, and I was playing our song on it. And came out, and of course I have this giant bulge in my pocket, so I'm walking sideways, like away from her, so she can't see it. Because I've got the ring box in my pocket. Because you're 40 feet up on a deck. The last thing I want to do is have that ring not secure.
Yeah, with slats between each piece of wood.
Dear.
And so we're sitting there, and of course I started getting really nervous and freaking out, and I was hyperventilating a little bit. I think it was my first mini panic attack I've ever had. And
he was breathing very heavily.
She starts asking me, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And I'm trying to blame it on allergies, and I keep trying to, bring up, hey, this is the first place we've been together, and it's somewhere we're going to come every year for the rest of our lives. And she's like, yep, that's great. And
I had my cocktail. I was relaxing.
She's having a drink. She's reading her magazine. Like, life is good. It's peaceful. And I keep trying to go into it. And finally, I was like, I can't do it anymore. And so I just got up and gave her a big kiss. And while kissing her, was fumbling in my pocket to grab the ring box out. And, stopped giving her a kiss, and then was down on one knee with the ring box open in front of her just instantly, and asked if she would marry me. And of course, instead of yes, I got, are you serious? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Did you ask my dad? And I said, of course. And she smacked me, I think, once or twice. And, I couldn't actually believe it was happening, I think. And neither could I. And the only thing I'm thinking at this moment is, she still hasn't said yes, and my knee really hurts right now because I'm on a deck.
He doesn't want to lose the ring through the wood.
Slats. And so finally I asked her, I was like, will you marry her? She's like, of course, yes. And she goes to grab the ring, and she says, no, you put it on me. And, both our hands are shaking. And I think it took me a couple seconds to get on there. And then after that, of course, for us, it was going to be, there's no cell service. So we couldn't call anybody. We couldn't talk to it. And while I was really happy about that, because as much as I love her, I know she likes to plan things. So she would have gone instantly into wedding planning mode. And with no service for 3 days, I got to, get us 3 days.
Yeah.
And so, but of course, our families are so very important to us that not being able to call our family, I thought would actually make both of us sad. So I had my parents, her parents, my nieces Sierra and Mackenzie did a little video saying congratulations for us. Oh, her best friend and her husband.
And your cousin.
And then my cousin as well, all recorded little videos saying congratulations. And of course, I hadn't watched them either. I just put them on a little playlist on my phone because, I was doing it for myself as well. I think I watched my cousin's, which literally just said congratulations. It was 4 seconds long. Of course, our parents were the longest. And
but a lot of them were saying, I guess you said yes if you're watching this. We're really excited.
Yeah.
And, my nieces, she's still we're both crying and happy and hugging. And I just hit play, and she hears my niece's voices, and she's like, what the heck? And of course, I had the Bluetooth speaker going on, so it was actually pretty loud. And, they're very excited. They're getting a new aunt. And of course, they loved Caitlin. They met her last year, and were asking about, when they were going to get little cousins and everything like that.
Dear.
And of course asked during the video as well. But yeah, I just, I knew last year when we left, and we'd already actually started talking about, the future and us. But I knew last year when we left that was the place I wanted to do it. And
that's so
I was just
sweet.
Really grateful she didn't start smacking me around, pressuring me to do it before then.
So I had a feeling, but it was like one of those things where I got my hopes up for Mexico because everyone around me was like, he's going to propose in Mexico. And then I didn't want to get my hopes up. But then I kind of had a feeling when he asked my parents. So I was like, well, I think he's asked my parents. I know he's been talking to my family. So I had an idea, but then it's when it actually happens, it doesn't seem real. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was like, what do you mean? Are you kidding me? But I couldn't have asked for a better time to do it, being in our special place.
Place.
We went and told Alan and Dabney the next day, and they were so thrilled for us, and they were so tickled that like we love this place so much that he would propose to me here. Like, and they've had a few people get engaged there, which I think is really great, and it just has this something special about it. I think just the peacefulness about the entire place is.
Well,
How cool is that?
they came down. We were, visit, talk about this. They'd been our guests the year before, so we were just catching up on what had gone on since then. And they watched the summer house progress, so they were interested in that. And talk. Finally, they were about to leave, and Michael says,
Hey, don't you have just something to say?
You tell them something else that happened. Oh, yeah, he proposed to me last night. And what was so cute about that was that, they didn't have cell phone service, so they couldn't call anybody and tell them. I said, well, you can use my phone if you want to call your mother or something. And he said, oh, he's already told my parents that he was going to do that. So.
And that whole story about how he got, when her parents came, and he at the very last minute as they're leaving at the airport, that story.
But our guests don't, so go ahead.
Well, part of it was, and Michael should tell this story, but
we'll have a little bit
he made this excuse as they're leaving. It dropped her parents off. As they're leaving, he said, oh, I really got to go to the bathroom. So she's kind of left there suspended while he goes in to go to the bathroom, but really wanted to ask her dad for permission to marry his daughter. So she said that was the fastest episode, and then he came back and was all smiling, and she had really no idea.
Being out there an hour from civilization and no cell phone and up 40 feet, what'd you do? I mean, did you take books? Did you? You obviously took your music.
I read like 4 magazines, read half of a book, listened to a lot of music, ate some good food, took a lot of naps.
We talked a lot, actually.
We talked a lot, yeah.
we do talk. And
you had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and they have 25 acres of property to explore. I mean, we did a little bit of hiking last year. We didn't this year. We were a lot lazier about it. When we were on the property, we actually went, because we were there for 2 full days this year versus 1 last year. We actually spent a day. We went to Lost Creek Lake and rented some kayaks and kayaked out on the lake, and so that was kind of what we did the majority of our second day. But they have some hammocks to go lay down on. They actually have a hot tub on the property,
wood-fired hot tub.
So it's
It's very
which
cool.
can get
Did you
very
get in
hot.
that?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they
definitely.
changed the water for us, and you can sit up on the edge of the wood, and it's just an amazing view as well. It's kind of like being in an infinity hot tub.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's just scenery for miles.
They have a garden they grow fruits and vegetables there, and so their garden's right there, and their property, their cabin is pretty close by, but still, they're very respectful
and
they keep quiet.
Critters too. There's animals out there as well.
We didn't see any.
There's deer. We saw them on the roads driving up and everything like that. I think I saw one in the morning once, but they were saying during visitor time, because there's a lot, more traffic coming up every, 2-3 days, there's a new car coming in. Lots of birds of prey.
Lots
of course,
birds.
I love that. So I was looking out through the binoculars. I think she was still in bed the morning I was doing
birds
it.
And bugs.
Did you take binoculars, or did they have
They
them
have
there?
them there. And so they actually keep a binder there for you of all the things you can do in town, where the
Rafting
farmers
on the
markets are.
road,
There's hot springs you can go visit. And of course, on the 95-degree day, the last place we wanted to go is a hot spring.
But it's amazing how much doing nothing. Like, we spent the entire first full day there doing nothing, and it went by pretty darn quickly. And you don't, just time is very different.
And I can hear the birds way down the valley. And I can hear why the wind actually allows the trees to speak. It gives voice to the trees. That's what the wind does, and every tree has a different sound. And I started to realize that impacts people in ways they can't identify.
When you're unplugged, really
when you have nothing to do and your whole day revolves around when you're hungry and need to eat. There was not, you don't, it doesn't matter.
Different brain space.
It doesn't matter if you have nothing to do. He can nap, which he never naps, and he would nap and I would go out and read, or he would make lunch while I took a nap. It's just this comfort level of doing nothing I cannot do at my own home. Yeah, we have bonfires with them.
Oh, that's right. You've got a picture for us.
Yes.
Too,
Yeah, they come up and they'll join you if you invite them. And we had dinner with them last year. This year we just had them up after we had dinner, and they bring up a bottle of wine and we all hang out and just talk. And they're just such easy people to get along with. And last year we learned more of the history of why they do this and what, made them want to do this. And this year we just caught up and had a great time chatting, and we've become friends and look forward to seeing them when they're in Portland one of these days.
How do you feel about Airbnb? Has this changed any of your feelings of using the platform?
I've used it more than he has, and I love it. I'm a big fan. Like I was telling the people we were with just before here, it's very cool to be able to stay in a place in a city that I wouldn't stay otherwise because there isn't a hotel. Like, I stayed in Capitol Hill in Seattle. I would never live there. I would never be able to stay there otherwise. And it's very cool to get to experience different neighborhoods, different types of homes, meet new people. It's just really, it's a unique way to travel. And I worked a lot in hospitality and hotels, and I'm just not as charmed by hotels as I used to be. And it's so nice to just drive up and have your things and not have to worry about other people next door making noise or,
Yeah, and even last year, with my work, they make us take our vacations in an entire week. So when she found out that we were only meeting, I think we were staying Saturday, Sunday, coming back Monday, and then I still had Tuesday through Saturday off. And she goes, oh, well, I'm going to take some extra days off. So when we left the Summit Prairie last year, we actually went to Crater Lake, and then we drove up to Bend and stayed at another Airbnb. And, it's just been that Airbnb is our first place we go before we're looking at a hotel, before we're doing anything like that, because we've just had a better experience through Airbnb. And, we stayed even in Bend, we stayed in a little one-bedroom apartment, about 5-minute walk from downtown Bend, and it was half the cost of what a cheap-ish, kind of crappy, excuse my language, hotel would have been in Bend at that time. And it was amazing.
It was perfect, yeah. And some experiences I have not encountered the host, and some I have. And either way, it's just been really great. I've had the very first experience I had was in Nashville, and it was a great place to stay. The owner of it was a little odd, and he was the leaving wasn't the greatest, but the experience itself was great. He just was a little kooky. But I would do it again in a heartbeat. That didn't stray. It didn't make me not want to use it. But yeah, I think I've done 4 or 5 different times I've stayed, and that's usually the first place I look.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you,
I'm
Debbie.
so happy for you.
Thank you.
Us too.
Looking forward to a yummy wedding.
Oh, you should.
All right.
Thank you so
turn this
much.
off. I think it's really nice to have the feedback from the guest who stayed at your property. We don't get a lot of that in reviews, and so to have Michael and Caitlin talk about the various kinds of things that they loved about the Summit Prairie, I think is really helpful. So if you get an opportunity to have a conversation with your guests, ask them, for some really honest feedback, and use that to help your own hosting experience. I almost forgot to tell you that I started a Facebook group last week. There's not very many people in it yet. I think there's only 7 of us at this point, but this is meant to be a place where hosts can join and discuss their Airbnb issues. So this is where we will interact. If you'd like to be a part of this group, we'd love to have you. Go to hostingyourhome.com and click the Facebook icon, which will take you to our Hosting Your Home group. So look forward to seeing you there too. If you're new to the podcast program and would like to subscribe, go to our website at hostingyourhome.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page where you will see a subscription button. Put in your email address, and that will trigger an email to you every time we have a new episode air. You can also subscribe to us through iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and we always love to get your comments. Thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we're having a lot of fun doing this. Take care. See you next week.